Hello, my loves. My name is Jessica Angelari, and I am a feminine embodiment, love, and pleasure coach. And today I wanted to speak about the relationship between how we feel in our body, how we feel in our skin, and intimacy. When you think about intimacy, how does that make you feel? Does it make you feel at ease? Does it feel challenging? Does it make your body feel tight? And where does your mind go to when you think of intimacy? And what about if I say the word pleasure? How does that make you feel? Or where does your mind go to when I say pleasure? Are they connected? Oftentimes we think of intimacy or pleasure and people will go right to sex. Intimacy is a way to enhance your sexual experience, yes, because you require pleasure, you require sensuality. So intimacy opens the doorway to connection, into knowing yourself deeply, beneath all those layers and the masks that tell you how to act and sound and be as a way to receive validation. And it is what ignites your erotic energy, your erotic, which is you in your natural, surrendered state, experiencing all of the deliciousness of life through your body. So erotic energy is felt in the body, and it's felt as pleasure. And this can only happen when we are allowing ourselves to be intimate with our subtle experience. And we can do that through our senses. So this is where sensuality comes into it. So what happens when we are in a sexual encounter is that the intention becomes easier. The intention of being connected with someone else becomes easier when we are in the body and experiencing pleasure. But we can take that experience, that pleasurable experience, and transfer this into all moments that we live in everyday life. And in this way, we begin to know ourselves more intimately. So as you can see, it's not the same, but it's all connected. This intimacy, it happens in the presence of being in the body. When you are being so connected with how you are feeling in the present moment. When you know how to be present with yourself, you are then also open to receiving more bliss from life, from your senses, from your lover. So intimacy is presence and enjoying your body and yourself and feeling the full spectrum of your experience as a woman. I think it's just beautiful that we get to experience ourselves in this way. So it means getting real about the relationship you have with your body and your yoni, so your vagina and your breasts. This is how we come to know ourselves deeply. And this is where we come to realize our power, our innate power. But this connection as well doesn't come very easily. It doesn't come naturally for us women because of the society that we live in. It's very masculinized, but not the healthy masculine. It's coming from the wounded masculine. So that means when it comes to pleasure and sensuality and the body and the feminine way, the feeling way, we're usually very disconnected with all of this. And we're led to believe that our sexuality is something that is for someone else, or that we should feel shame about it, or we should feel shame about our body. because our minds are what is more superior to the body. That's what we've been taught. And so we value thinking over feeling. We value control over love, the mind over the body. And so we're missing this connection to our sensuality, which is this piece of being alive and experiencing all the amazing things that your body can experience. Your body creates pleasure. She desires you, your soul within your body desires you to entice your senses, to delight yourself, to delight your womanhood with pleasure. And we need that more so than ever because we have shut down our bodies. And when our body is shut down, our vital life force energy, which is created through sensuality and intimacy, the pleasure, that blocks our magnetic radiance. It blocks our receiving abilities. So as you can see, intimacy is not just about sex. Sex is one avenue, but it is our pathway. Our sex is ignited through the pathway of intimacy and sensuality. So as you can probably gather, you can get an idea that intimacy is not just about sex. Intimacy is not just about what you do in the bedroom. Intimacy is not just about date nights. Yes, all of these things are important. Having fun is important and it brings playfulness and light to the relationship. But it's just one part of an intimate relationship. Intimacy goes beyond that. Intimacy is about being present, whether it's being present with yourself or it's being present with another. It's about being there with all of your presence for one another, whether it's emotionally, energetically, spiritually, and holding yourself or your beloved in the most vulnerable times. So it's about being present with whatever is moving through you in that moment with no judgment. So coming at it with whatever's there with discernment. And how, as well, the divine consciousness is wanting to be felt by you and offering your attention and love to this. We can do that through our felt experience, through pleasure practices. It's the most vulnerable and most exposing way of being when you are in this intimacy, when you are practicing an intimacy. So therefore, it requires you to feel safe. It requires you to feel safe, to take off that mask where you stop hiding yourself, stop hiding your fears and insecurities, and stop pretending that everything is fine. This is intimacy, real intimacy. Again, whether it's solo, whether you are practicing how to be intimate with yourself or whether it's with your beloved, it's being there with someone so intently, being there for yourself so intently. And that means with all the parts of you that you may not particularly like or that feel uncomfortable, but coming at it with discernment and no judgment, as I mentioned, and seeing and being in this presence with yourself or with your loved one through the lens of love. The love is what will continue to help you become this best version of yourself, your highest version of yourself, which is truth. I believe that that is what we are all here for, to really understand and feel and be present with what that means, with that love. And in this act of love and intimacy, it requires much more than communication. We may often hear our intimacy is communicating, it's communicating really well, but it's communicating in all ways. We have to know that it's not just about yes, it's about listening and being there for that person, but it's communicating in a way where you're able to hold and confront all of these dark aspects of yourself that can feel a little bit scary. And when you have someone else who can hold that space for you as well, it feels soothing. It feels like this feeling of coming home, which is why I called my 10-week immersion, my group immersion, Feminine Remembrance, Come Home to Yourself, because that's exactly what we're doing through this remembrance of the feminine, which incorporates intimacy and love and sensuality and sexuality. We really do come home to who we truly are. And when you experience intimacy in a conscious relationship, you bring and you experience more bliss and pleasure. You really open yourself up to receive that pleasure. You surrender to the divine that moves through both of you. What I usually find is that a woman will surrender and open up when she feels appreciated, when she feels seen. And it is then that her heart begins to open. And when her heart is open, it is then she feels this beautiful bliss of intimacy and the potential that it brings to her as well. So when intimacy is there on a spiritual level, this is where you experience an altered state of consciousness. You both enter this space that feels comfortable. Like I said, it feels soothing, it feels nourishing, it feels safe, and you have that warm, fuzzy feeling in your body. It's the most beautiful thing. And I just really desire all women to feel this way, whether it's on their own, which is what we experience in the immersion, in the 10-week immersion, or with a loved one. And it doesn't have to feel difficult or challenging either. It's not hard work, but when we immerse ourselves into feminine practices and rituals, it really does guide us into experiencing this connection with ourselves. It becomes easier to do it. And when you know how to be intimate with yourself and you know how this feels in your body because you've practiced it daily, this is important. If we want to surrender to this beautiful bliss, this divine love, this channel of love, then we have to practice it daily. And when you do, and you know how that feels in your body, it means then you feel safe to open and to surrender. You lose control. You open to receiving. After all, we can't fully engage in arousal and an orgasmic experience when we are in control. When you're surrendered and not in control, your body relaxes, your body softens, you feel safe and you enjoy what's there and you open to receiving more. And that's eroticism, when you're fully embodied like nature. Nature is so erotic. It's erotic and expression, and you can really see how softened nature is, but how in full and embodied, and how safe she feels to open. I mean, you never tell a flower or a tree to slim down or to not open fully. No, she's rested in her too muchness, and we are the same. This is the same example when we're sold the image that a naked body is shameful, or that a flat, sterile stomach is better and therefore sexy. And what this does is it really hides our expression. We hide, we play small. And remember, beauty standards change all the time. Years ago, they embraced a more full, abundant body. So it varies according to what society is describing as beautiful. But once you know how to really surrender into your beautiful, delicious, soft body, and you know that your belly is your emotional center, your center for creation, you slowly start to feel good in your body. You take up space in the world. It's like when you develop a loving relationship with your vagina, with your yoni, you realize the power of pleasure that is offered to you in all moments, that's there for you to experience. And then we start to fall in love with our body, with our womanhood. And we see our feminine as this beautiful expression of the divine. And then when we do, and we also see our bodies as this beautiful altar for the divine. And when we do see this, we start to embrace our body as this holder, this beholder of love, beholder of our emotions. And we learn how to soften and surrender and allow these emotions to flow through us. That's important. And we do that through pleasure practices like movement, conscious movement, through conscious breathing. When our emotions are moving and flowing, this is such a gift to your erotic expression. And it is where you then tap into your natural radiance because you learn to let go. If we're focused always on our body and our insecurities, we can't be present with ourselves and therefore with our lover because we're in our mind, and we can't be intimate and enjoy our sensual, pleasurable body from, we can't enjoy it from the mind level. And that's what limits your full embodied presence. That's what limits your erotic expression. We can't surrender when we are caught up in the mind. We can't enjoy pleasure when we are in the mind, when we are in control. And if we can't surrender, then we can't fully experience intimacy. And then we can't experience whole body orgasms, which is why the secret here is safety. Yeah. To feel safe, to feel good, to feel nourished, to fully embrace who you are in your skin, to feel safe in your naked body, to start practicing enjoying your naked body. This is the only way that you can lean back and fully open yourself to sensual pleasures in your day-to-day moments, and to feel pleasure on your own or with your lover. So the most important thing to know when speaking about connection and intimacy is that it all has to start with the relationship with yourself. Get up and personal with all of you. Connect with your body, with your yoni and your breasts. Start integrating touch into your life. Touch everything. And this is how we pierce through the layers of control to let go and to really feel. This is the sensuality part. And of course, if you need help with this, that's why I've created a 7-day free program, Erotic Feminine Embodiment, to begin this journey of pleasure using touch, using breath, and to start developing this relationship with your body and your yoni. You can know the anatomy of your vagina and your pleasure points and your clitoris, but this isn't going to bring you closer to what you truly love and desire and how you know yourself intimately. You have to begin immersing yourself into feminine, delicious practices that get you there. Because the fear about being naked and vulnerable and intimacy is real. It's there, and it's sitting there in our feminine collective psyche. So this is all about remembering and reactivating, relearning how all of this pleasure, how it feels in our body. This is the way that we begin to open to our sacred sensuality. And when we do, that's how we begin to know ourselves completely. And that's how we return to our womanhood, your womanhood. Your womanhood is about creating a deep sense of personal connection through your sacred sensuality. And then in that is where you ignite your sacred sexuality. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know what landed with you and how you are going to start bringing intimacy into your life. How are you going to start embracing and inviting, welcoming in feminine practices to start being present with yourself, with your body, with your sensations, which is so important for practicing the art of intimacy, which is really you being just with yourself, with all of you, connecting with all of you. Such a delicious topic. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to join my free 7-day program, Erotic Feminine Embodiment. It's so delicious. It's full of love, full of pleasure, full of sensuality, and I know you're going to love it. My name is Jessica Angelari, and I will see you very soon. All my love to you. Mwah. Bye, beautiful.